Um, I'm here running the tech on one end, and Liz and Ibou are here on the other end. So I just like to welcome them both. And the opening is Sunday, and we really hope that you enjoy this show and come to the opening on Sunday, and just come to the museum and enjoy the show. It's going to be here through May 1st. I'm going to hand the show over to the team and sit here and do my producer behind the scenes stuff that I've been doing for all the other shows. So welcome to you both, and I look forward to hearing the conversation. And if you need any help, let me know. Please, if you're out there and we look forward to your comments. You can make comments. I think we're having problems with Facebook again. YouTube is where it's at. So please ask questions, say hello. We'd love to hear from you. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Not you. The other guy. Oh, man. All right, there we go.
Good.
Yes, here we go.
Thank you so much, Rand. And thank you so much to the Hoboken Historical Museum for, first of all, hosting our show in your art gallery up here. And second of all, having this wonderful event tonight, our little interview tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much for the Hoboken Museum to be showing our work. It's a great pleasure to be back here again to feature my work again. And this time we are having a two-person show, Ibou Ndoye and Liz Ndoye. It's a couple showing this time over here. And the work we've done here, we have here, so are really strong work and works that we really did in wonderful and difficult times.
Yes, all of the work on display at this show, our show called Adjacent, we did during the pandemic. I think, Ibou, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was the first time ever that we had spent so much time together working side by side. We've worked together before, even working on the same piece of art before, but this was the first time where we were together literally 24/7 for, I think, an entire year.
A year and 2 months.
Yeah. So what you'll see on the walls here definitely was inspired. We were inspired by each other, wouldn't you say?
I think because being together for like a year and 2 months, so you don't have anything else to do rather than painting, lifting weight, and
We were lifting weight.
It was just lifting weight, painting and running. That's what we were doing, and we were every day working. I would sometimes work like 12 hours a day or eight hours. We have produced so many pieces of artwork, ranging from glass painting, painting on canvas, painting on paper, book art. So we did all these things, and I'm thinking if it wasn't the pandemic, we wouldn't have really time to do this.
To do as much.
Yeah. As much we did. And the fun part was we were next to each other working. Sometimes there was no talking, just like working, and each one was doing like whatever she felt like doing. We would sometimes talk about a project, think we would be doing, but when we start working, so we deeply in it, and there's sometimes no communication,
Yeah. And we've certainly shown together before and worked on art together before. And I think we've influenced each other's work over the years, but I think in this show, our work really, and we've shown together before. Did I say that already?
Several times.
Because we really, really enjoy showing together because our work, I think, looks really good together. And often we say it speaks to each other.
Each other.
But the work in this show, you can really, really see the relationship between our style, our concept, and the type of work that we do. Even though our ideas are different and our influence, we come to what we do from different places.
Yeah.
You can see the similarity in our work.
Well, in this show, it's mostly abstract and a lot of lines, very strong lines, a lot of dots. As you
Yes.
can see. So maybe it was the statement of the time what we were
Mm.
what we were going through with the pandemic and staying at home, and then when you're like in face-to-face communication, we can't say that in the pandemic there was not like a lot of face-to-face communication with the others. Everybody's staying home and we're trying to be safe and stay away from what was going on, and that has inspired our work, because some of the pieces here I call it like human animals. So I have pieces called human animals. So I have also like animals scaring people, you know, and I have also like animals in the form of human beings, and also I have in this show like people wearing animals wearing masks. There's a lot of masks in this show, and we were all wearing masks. And before the pandemic, I always like used to put masks on people's faces or animals' faces, because for me, a mask has always been like a statement. We all wear different kind of mask. Like the mask we wear when we're at home, when we talk to our children, the mask we wear when we at work with our colleagues, the mask you wear when when we on the street. And I always say that we all are living mask. We all are living mask, whether we want it or not. And some of the masks are invisible. And from that statement and from what we've been going through, that has like push me and make my statement stronger to use mask and these faces. At a certain time, the mask could become like a sign of survival, like a kind of a sign of fighting against something. And finally, it became a big issue. Should we wear mask? Should we not wear mask? And it became a real issue that we saw in some countries, people wearing masks fighting against people not wearing masks. Like, if if you don't have a mask and you got on the train, on the bus, or in a restaurant, it is like a big issue. So you have to show a vaccination card and wear a mask to show people that you're safe and you're not going to transmit any disease to anybody.
Mm.
You see, and that statement was like really strong, and then that's why I put a lot of masks in this, and there's the presence of masks in my paintings. I usually put people with masks on my paintings, but this time with this work I have done over here, it's really strong, and it gives like a very strong and positive statement to my work.
So I think there were so many negative aspects to the pandemic. For example, we couldn't go to our studios, which in the beginning we thought would be a huge frustration, but it actually turned out for us to be incredibly beneficial, because we were lucky enough to have the space and the ability to work at home. And as Ibou has been saying, we were very, very productive. And you can see the results right here at the Historical Museum in Hoboken.
And we both have studio. I have my studio at Norman Leather, and she has a studio at Manor. But this time, working at home for me, it's just like cohabitation with the artwork, cohabitation with the paint brushes, So before going to bed, you got to do something. You got to paint something. And when you wake up in the morning, before you wash your face, you got to go down and see what you've done. It's like you always have your hands in on what you're doing. I mean, we did not run out of inspiration, as a lot of people have been saying that they run out of inspiration. The inspiration is dry. Now it was always there, and we used it. And the amount of work we've done during this pandemic, we wouldn't be able to do it in normal times. And in a certain way, our art become like kind of therapeutic. We were like really taking care of our mental health through art. We don't want to be depressed
That's true.
in any level. It's like therapeutic. So we were our own remedy.
Therapeutic. Yeah.
Therapeutic, and art became our own remedy.
Right. So do you want to start talking about the pictures in our slideshow?
Yeah,
or
but
you want to keep talking about our art?
yeah, we can talk about the art,
Okay.
and here is the mixture of glass painting and paperwork, and then you mostly have like my works on glass, which is like a kind of a tradition from West Africa, Senegal, where I'm from. So we do like a lot of glass painting, and like since I work with oil. And then oil like smells and something like that, I mostly do my glass painting when it's hot, because glass doesn't absorb paint. So I need the sun to dry it. So that's why when I do this kind of work, it's kind of race against the sun, because I have to get up early in the morning. So once the sun goes down, it's the time that I stop, because the process is first.
He never stops, folks. He puts all the lights up in the backyard and he keeps painting.
Yeah, he keeps painting. And yeah, it's a lot of fun to be doing this in the summertime, or when it's hot, because it's the best time, and it's a lot of work, and I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Liz also does glass painting, but in this work, she's you show your paperwork,
Only paperworks in this show.
and you were busy like doing these paperwork, really.
Absolutely. It was, I'm not sure why, but drawing for me became really the only thing I wanted to do during the pandemic. I found it completely absorbing, and it really became the focus of my life. And I was drawing every chance I got, continuously. I found myself in very strange locations in the house drawing. Even during Zoom meetings, I would be drawing.
And watching television.
Don't tell. But when I was supposed to be listening, I was drawing. Yeah. So, and for me, drawing is the highest art form there is. Is that true for you, Ibou? What do you think about drawing?
Yeah, drawing is just like talking to yourself. For me, it's
a nice way of putting it. Yeah.
For me, drawing is just like a kind of a communication, because I always say, we are two persons. They are like the outer man and the inner man. And when you draw, it's just like the outer person and the inner person are like in a deep conversation, and you're the only one who hear their voices, and you try to represent their voices on a piece of paper or on any kind of medium you're using.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. And as an artist, I draw a lot. I draw everywhere. Everywhere I'm going, on a train, buses, on planes, and wherever I'm traveling or wherever I'm going, I find something to draw on. And it's also a way of documenting my presence in certain places and where I'm going. And for me, drawing represents like a lot of things. When I'm mad, when I'm sad, it's always drawing. There's always like that burning desire to do some drawings.
I have to hide things, folks, so that he doesn't draw them. And then he has to hide things so that I won't recycle them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he draws on everything. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So that can be a fun exchange,
yeah,
right?
it's fun exchange
In our
for me.
relationship.
It's really I got a lot of sketchbooks, and sometimes the sketchbooks are turned into book arts.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and like I think since November, October or November, I've been drawing because I divide my time, like time when I do certain kind of works. In the summertime, it's mostly like glass paintings because it's sunny, or I do welding sometimes. Like in the fall, like it mostly works on canvas, and all the time it's like I can take 3 months working on a specific medium, either glass or paper or canvas. That's how I work, you know. And then it's all about art. It's all about like the desire to do something, the desire to create. And the reason why I work every day, I do art every day, is that I don't want to get ready for any art show. I just want art show to find me ready. And that's always been my conception. Because to me, it's a little bit like spooky and crazy to be getting ready for something. Yeah, I just do that amount of work with good quality work, and then wait for the opportunity. But not wait for the opportunity and do the art. No, it doesn't work like that with me.
I think that you live to do art. I think you couldn't stop if you wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if it is even like 10 minutes or 20 minutes, if I'm running out of time and really I can't do it, at least I'll spend like 30 minutes, 10 minutes or something like that. But the pandemic was like another thing. It was like painting like crazy.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
And then other than the art, we also do a lot of things in the community, for instance. We do a lot of workshops. We did a lot of workshops like with the homeless shelter, and she's still like running workshops at the homeless shelter,
Mhm.
And with the elderly,
Yeah.
and then we also did some. What else did we do? A lot of art in the park with people,
You had those great bookmaking workshops
bookmaking workshop
in the park
in the
and
park. And then the most amazing part was like the online workshops we were doing. So we did the online workshops in Hoboken and libraries in Union City, you know. So the pandemic has changed the way artists used to act and to do their art, because running a workshop like glass painting workshop via Zoom was something new to me, but very, very interesting because the pieces the kids and families did were really amazing. They were really amazing, and my customers were really interested in that. And I remember even being in touch with the family in Canada who wanted to do like an online workshop on Zoom, glass painting workshops.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, and it's fun. It's interesting how we were sharing knowledge without face-to-face communication. How people like didn't let this pandemic keep them down. All the doors and windows were open, and we were interacting in another way. Preventing the death of knowledge.
Mm.
It was
And preventing the death of art.
in preventing the death of art. It was all about preventing the death of art and knowledge. that people use their minds and come up with something that was really positive, that was really great for everybody. And those workshops were sometimes booked up. We like had a lot of people in the workshop, so we turned one of our studio into into a video room,
Into
like filming room where
Yes.
we're filming. And other
Yeah.
than that, you were doing like online classing with the library too.
right, which are still going on,
Yeah.
which have been great.
So we were like really digital, Some of the classes I was filming her, and then we could do the editing,
Yes.
and then we put it in the mailbox, and people from the library will come and pick it up and put it on the website. And what was it called?
It's called Art at Home.
Art at Home.
Yes.
So we run like a lot of different programs at home.
Want to look at the slideshow?
Oh yeah, sure.
So, Rand, let's do it.
Okay, this was our
This
wedding.
was, what was it?
It was our wedding like
Right.
5 years ago or something like that.
I thought this was a good place to start. What
Yeah.
about you?
Yeah, it's a good place with friends and the
Friends
Hoboken
and
Bank.
family.
Yeah, friends and family. Right here in Hoboken. Yeah.
Yeah. This, I think, could we go back 1 second,
Of
Rand?
course.
I
Yep.
think, and Jean Paul, I think you're watching, so I'm not sure, but I think you took this photograph, Jean Paul, right?
I think so.
Yeah. And we really, really love this picture.
Beautiful. Thank you, Jean Paul. Yeah. And my friend Papa Gorot out there.
Yeah.
And then we also
This
this
is-
is art. What was it?
This was the library workshop, the bookmaking one,
Yeah, this
and
was
it's Church Square Park.
Church Square Park. It was in the middle of the pandemic. People were wearing masks, and we had like tables. It was a big workshop. We got a lot of people over here doing this kind of bookmaking workshop. And these workshops are mostly like family workshop.
Yes.
People will come with their kids and we'll sit together for 2 hours and make these kind of workshops. And then the material and everything that was used here was supplied by us and the library.
And then remember with the green team of Hoboken, we had the workshop in the gazebo,
Yeah.
which you can see behind.
So we had 2 workshops over here.
Oh, look
Bookmaking.
what Bill wrote. That's cool. I'm saying yes before he even gets a chance.
Oh yes.
We would love to run, yes,
Oh yeah, sure.
a glass painting workshop, Bill.
Yeah, we'll do that.
We'll talk.
We'll talk.
We'll
We'll do
talk.
a glass painting workshop right here in the library at the
Museum.
museum. Yeah, and this workshop was really successful, and that was the first time for some of these kids to make book art.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was successful.
It's great fun. This was the open studio tour.
Yeah,
This was right before the pandemic
for the pandemic.
got really bad.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, that was in my studio at the Newman no.
Yeah.
The Newman
It's
yeah.
a Newman Leather.
Yeah, open studio. So we always show together.
Yeah.
So these kind of events we sometimes show at home, but here we show together. As you can see, there's glass paintings up there. Are hers. She also does glass paintings.
And are those carpets or
Yeah.
are they on paper? Those
These
are carpet.
These
paper.
are my works on carpet. So these are carpets I did. So I do a variety of work like carpet and glass painting.
Oh, sorry, Jean Paul. I don't know who took that picture then.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
checking.
you for checking.
You should have taken credit, kid.
Yeah. Somebody always taking taking my picture when I'm titled lacking somewhere.
Guess who?
Yeah, this was almost the end of the day, so we had a lot of visitors at and in my studio. So I was just sitting there relaxing. And what you're seeing up there are glass paintings, and these are the traditional glass paintings, and the brown ones are these
Watercolors.
work, yeah, watercolors. This was a this was a workshop. I don't know which is school.
This was Jersey City.
Yeah, I don't know which is. Yeah, that was in Jersey City.
This
because
was on.
we do a lot of workshops in in the Jersey City public schools and private schools. So that was in Jersey City. I think it was when I was having a solo show at Jersey City University or something
Yes.
like that. Yeah,
Yeah, it was in conjunction with that.
in conjunction with yeah.
This was a glass painting workshop at the Hoboken Public Library. And these young women were so thrilled with their work. We had such a good time. This class was packed.
Mhm, yeah.
I want to say we had close to 50 people in this workshop.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful.
And then these people were from Jersey City, and we had other people from Bayonne.
Mhm.
The couple like these kind of workshops are really interesting because it gathers people from the Hudson County. From it was fun doing this workshop. So and we run workshops together. So we've been doing that for over 20 years and showing over 20 years. Yeah.
This is Hoboken High School in the gym. This was for African American History Month.
Yeah, they had
It was their first diversity day, I
yeah,
think.
it was the first diversity day, and they invited me to show some glass painting and talk to people about my art. It was like a fun day. Yeah, this is a show I had, I think 2 years ago or something like that at Jersey City University, and with friends, and my wife and Robert Thomas, who was also like an artist and a boyfriend. So that was
She's a Jersey City artist, right?
yeah, she's a Jersey City artist,
Yeah.
and she had a kind of a studio for artists, I think, kind of gallery. And this show was really big because I showed my works on canvas, collage with African fabric. Because I show different kind of works according to the place where I am. So since it was a solo show and a huge gallery, so I put my big works in this show. And in conjunction with this show, I also run like two workshops.
Yes.
One at the school and one at Jersey City University. For me, having a show and running these workshops gave me the opportunity to talk to people about my art and show them how I do my artwork. Because a lot of people, when they come to the gallery, they just look at the work and then they go home, but they never get a chance to talk to the artist about like how the work is done. And I sometimes like to familiarize myself, like get acquainted with the viewers, the families. People will come and show them like how I do my work, like the process, how I use my medium, and how I choose them. Like having a workshop while having a show is totally different from openings. There, you are at people's disposal and they talk to you and they see how you do things and you show them how you do things. It's just like sharing knowledge to the young generation.
One thing I've always been amazed about you, Ibou, is how generous and open you are about sharing your work. It's very different, I think, from the way most American artists work. We're much more closed and private about our process. Although, I guess when artists become famous, we're a little bit more willing to share how we create things. But prior to that, we keep it kind of close to the bone. We don't want our ideas to be stolen. And so I find that really interesting that you're willing to share and show people how you do what you do.
Maybe it's like a cultural thing, because
It could be.
in some places in Africa, like, people do their work in the community. Sometimes
Right.
it's under the tree. Sometimes it's like next to, in the market,
Mhm.
so that people will see how they do things. And whatever they do is like a community or usual artists for the usual art. For instance, if you go to the museums, you see like a lot of masks across from Africa, but you don't see any signature,
Right.
because they don't appropriate it. It's for the community. Because if you sign, you appropriate, that's for you.
Right.
You know, I think it's in that, and then that's help people to like what they do, and then to appreciate the work and give respect and recognition to the artists. It's more about the community thing. I think I also like maybe get it from there. Like, it's like I'm avoiding some kind of knowledge to die, because there are like a lot of dying
Again,
knowledge.
yes.
There's a lot of dying knowledge and like so many cultures. In the developing world, you have the internet, you have television, you have social media, but in other places, people don't have that. You know, and sometimes when the master of the craft dies, he goes with the knowledge. The knowledge is not given to the young generation. You know, I
Yeah.
read a report from the from UNESCO a few years ago, which was stating that every year there were over 2,000 or something like knowledge dying that nobody else in the world is gonna learn or is gonna use.
Mm.
You know, and I always ask myself these questions: is like what we are trying to know more important than what we're forgetting?
Hmm.
It is more important than what we're burying. We are always trying to learn new things. We always trying to acquire new knowledge. How about how about the old knowledge? Is the new knowledge more important than the old one? Do we need like the ancient knowledge or the old knowledge to live with and associate with what's going on right now?
It's a very deep question and an important one.
Yeah, we're always trying to modernize. But if you modernize a lot, you leave something, you know.
Yeah.
So that's how I think, you know.
I love it.
Yeah.
Oh, good question from Bill. Where did we meet?
I think like, yeah, I met you in your house.
Yes. Yes, you answered correctly. Ding, ding, ding,
Bill,
ding, ding.
I met her in her house.
It was the open studio
Yeah,
tour
open
20
studio
years
tour
ago.
20 years ago. And
Exactly 20 years ago.
Yeah. That's how we met, and then we become friends. And then we created the Hope Art organization.
Right.
We
I
created
had
Hope
just started Hobart.
Art, and I'm one of the
You're
founding
one
fathers
Yeah.
of the organization. And after creating Hope Art, we created like the Hope Art Gallery.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had our own gallery, which we ran for 7 years or 6 years.
Well, the gallery was 8 years.
8 years we had
We
run
had
the
the gallery for 8 years.
Yeah, we created the organization Hope Art first, and then a few years after, we had a lot of memories, and we talked to people about creating a gallery, and we had a gallery.
Lasted a
years.
long time.
That took a long time. We were really busy hanging shows, painting the walls, repainting, exhibiting a lot of artists, creating a lot of events. And then,
Boom.
boom, the rent went up. So we lost the gallery.
We did, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But I remember that day really well. Ibou walked in. I didn't even see you, but I heard this sound.
Yeah.
He was wearing a lot of fantastic African bangles.
Yeah.
And I turned and looked at the jewelry on your wrist and I said, wow, nice jewelry. Do you make jewelry? And Ibou said, no. And then you said, but I'm an artist. And I said, oh, great. We just started a gallery here in Hoboken. And the rest is history.
History.
I said, you have to join. We're having our next meeting at Hoboken City Hall.
Okay, Bill, your question is answered. I'm sure you're laughing where you are.
I said, are you good with a hammer? You got to come join our gallery.
Yeah.
Oh, and this is exactly what you were talking about before, that you do your glass painting in the summer.
Yeah.
So he's working on reverse glass painting. These are windows. I think these windows we found at the Jersey Shore after Sandy.
Yeah, no, Ellen Ferreira from Jersey City gave them to me.
Oh, these are from Jersey
From
City.
Jersey City. You know,
Okay.
I mean, there's still that Jersey City connection because I lived in Jersey City
For many
for 17 years.
Yeah.
So I still have the Jersey City connection. And then here it was in the backyard because I do my glass painting in the summer and in the backyard. So, and when I paint, mostly I work with several pieces at the same time. Here, I think I was working with 4 or 5 pieces sometimes. And then we also collaborate a lot in the summertime, like in the backyard.
Yeah, I think there's a picture of me coming up.
Yeah, we collaborate a lot.
Oh, this was a pandemic event. And Jerry Fallow, if you're listening, we want to do more of these. These have been fun. What did we call this? This was an art stroll,
I stroll,
I think,
in
or an art walk around Hoboken. And I think we've had 2 since the pandemic started.
Yeah.
So we put up our display units in the front gate of our house, and we both showed work. You can see some of actually pieces that I had here at my show, my first show at the Hoboken Historical Museum, and some of Ibou's paintings and glass works. So that was a nice event.
That was a nice event. We had a lot of visitors over here, and it was in the front of the house. So we just had no show, and it's something like something really good, and people like it. The neighbors get a chance to come and talk to us. You know, and people walking around, people driving their cars. I think it's something good for the city of Hoboken. So we have to have more of this.
Yeah, I think it's a great tradition.
Yeah, but not everybody have a studio when you say open studio. But when you do this, others will get a chance to show their work.
I agree. We had a lot of visitors that day.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it was a picture of me taken at home. I think I was in the kitchen. It was during the pandemic, you know. Everybody put on weight. Everybody put on weight this pandemic. Either you're lifting or something like that.
I picked this picture, Ibou, because it's one of my favorites of you. And that's actually one of my paintings. That's an oil painting. That's how old that piece is. I haven't worked in oils in many, many, many years.
Yeah.
And you can actually see, this is interesting, but all the way on the back wall, that white wall in the back, there's a sculpture by a contemporary Ghanaian artist.
Ghanaian.
Yeah. And they inspire me with some of my drawings. They're long, very long-necked female figures with tiny heads and just the torso of the figure. They don't have arms and legs. And if you come to the show here at the museum, I will point out the parts of my drawings that come from my inspiration from these figures. They're the goddess. That's what the goddess came from in my drawings.
Yeah.
Oh, here's Ibou. I put him to work at my studio. You were helping me hang it. What were you helping me hang?
A canvas.
Oh, right. It's a canvas.
I
Yep.
was stapling a canvas on the wall for you to
Yeah.
get ready for your solo show in New York.
Yes.
Yeah. And in the back over there,
That's one of my drawings.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was in my solo show in the city too. One of my very large drawings. And I did, during the pandemic, I did get to my studio in New York. The end, actually, not that the pandemic is over yet, but in the second year of the pandemic, we gradually started going back to the studio to work. And this was one of those days when I roped Ibou into helping me. Oh, I love this picture.
Yeah.
I got to tell about this.
Yeah, this is the public art in Brooklyn. There's an organization called Art 360. This is the sitting area of restaurants. This is Emily Restaurant in Brooklyn, in Clinton Hill. So what the organization does is like they talk to the owners of the restaurants or public places and ask them to if they want to have their sitting area beautified. So yeah, and then I was like, they told me that because they saw my work online, and I know Emily and I know this place, so I gave my consent. Yes, and I went to Brooklyn with all my art supplies, and I did this public art. It's in New York on Flatbush. For those who are in New York, it's on Flatbush, 919 is Flatbush Street, next to the C-Train, next to Clinton Hill train station. And it's a beautiful piece. It's a beautiful piece that I did. It's on wood and it's still there. It was in the summertime and it was in a hot day. So I did it like in one day, so, and I was working directly on the panels because I didn't do any sketch. And these are patterns that are mostly inspired by African urban murals, also inspired by African textiles, and African murals. That's what I put in here. So
Jerry, hi, since you're listening, maybe restaurateurs in Hoboken would be interested in doing this kind of thing in their, what are those things called now? They're streeteries.
Sitting area.
Yeah.
Well, in New York they call sitting area, and here you call it what?
Streeteries.
Eateries, okay.
Wouldn't it be cool? It'd be so cool.
Yeah.
So, this was the workshop I was just talking about in the gazebo.
It was in the gazebo at the park, and here the kids were painting, were doing glass painting.
Right.
They were
This was for Earth Day.
inside the yard. It was with Earth Day. Which organization?
Was it for Earth Day? This was for the green team.
For the green team.
And yep. Oh, streeteries. Great
Streeteries,
idea.
Yeah, streeteries,
We were
yeah.
right. And Jerry, you were involved with this too. We were doing a project for children where we use recycled materials to create beautiful art. And we did it in conjunction with the Hoboken Green Team, helping the environment and making art at the same time. We had a lot of kids that day.
We had a lot of kids. They told us we were gonna have 25 kids. We brought 25 jars and
We ran it.
in less than an hour we ran out of jars. So Liz had to go back home again, bring more jars. And I think we were supposed to be there for 2 hours, and we stayed more than that, longer than that.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know, but it was awesome.
it was awesome. It was fun, I mean, people like this kind of like family things in Hoboken.
Yeah.
It's something like really, really great. You know, seeing kids with their parents and families, you know, working together, doing these kind of workshops. I think it's something that like we artists should be doing more for this community in order to bring the livelihood. That's what we need, and it's gonna help kids to be more creative and keep them off the streets.
I think the Green Team is interested in doing more of these, but I'll keep talking about it with them.
Yeah.
Not to worry.
Yeah.
You want to answer that?
Or can you use any kind of, well, if I do my work, I use oil for the longevity so that it works long.
Oil enamels,
Or
right?
oil enamel. But when I teach kids, I mostly use tempera paint or acrylic paint so that it will get dry fast. Because when I use oil, it takes time before it gets dry, unless
And
it's a
tough.
very sunny day and it's a little bit toxic. I wear a mask. But with the kids, I mostly use enamel, tempera paint or acrylic paint.
That was a good question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely, we need to do
more work.
more workshop for these kids and families, because at this time where we are, art is a remedy, you know, for everybody. Either you go to the museum or you watch it on television and everything. It's your remedy.
And kids need to get out of doors. And I love this picture.
I love this. It
The
was,
kids were so happy that day that they left you a thank you note.
yeah, we had this canvas on the table, and then I was working with these kids and families, and I even didn't see this until I was folding the bowl up. I would see this canvas. I was like, wow, this is very nice. Anyway, even if you're not here, even if I don't know you, I say you're welcome. You know, saying this.
Jean-Paul is asking, how has each of you influenced the other in your art? I don't know if I can put it into words. I think I've always loved what I call traditional art, or I think one thing that you've helped me grapple with, Ibou, is the whole cross-cultural struggle that I've had, because I love art from other cultures so much. I struggle with this whole idea of what's appropriation and what is legitimate borrowing of another cultural tradition. And you've helped me realize that there's nothing wrong with taking from another culture and using it in my own style and in my own way. And you've influenced me in that way. You've allowed me to explore using other traditions in my own way and not feel bad about it.
Yeah, but Jean-Paul, we always talk about, like, we've been talking about that for years.
Forever.
Appropriation. Can we borrow from other cultures and put it in our art? How will it change what we're doing? You know, because I once you cannot live like in a country for years without taking anything from that culture. You cannot. You cannot. Like when I went to Africa recently, when I was working on the street, people knew that I was in America without me telling them. Without me telling them, they know from the way you behave that you're from another culture. And a few years ago, I had a show here, a solo show here at the museum, and I used detergent bottles to create like what we call yakas, which is like just like a patchwork or something like that. And those pieces were shown in other places, but people came and said, "Well, that's appropriation. That's not African art." They said, "That's African art." I said, "Why?" They said, "Because you've appropriated American icons and want to turn it into African art." Because I use all the detergent bottles, and they call that like it's the property of America.
An American brand name.
It's an American brand name. Why, as an African, should I be using that in my art? You know. So and I would like maybe it's normal for Picasso and other people to take from African art, but it's not normal for African art to take from another culture.
Yeah.
You know, and somebody once told me that a great artist, small artists borrow, but great artists steal.
This is true.
That's what they say, and the influence is still like it exists when you collaborate with some other artists. Because I did a lot of collaboration with other artists, so I'm interested in the concept of collaboration. What can we do together that's gonna merge like cultures?
Yes. And that's how artists learn and grow, by looking at other artists' work. You can't help but be influenced by other artists constantly, particularly in this day and age when we're being bombarded by images of other artists all the time. So I think the answer to that is yes, we influence each other, but I don't know how to put it into words. I mean, we talk about our work to each other all the time, and we offer advice to each other. And you did influence me in a major way back on that first day that we met, and you looked at my paintings of my doll, Hazel, and you said, "Oh, so many wonderful paintings of your doll. Why don't you make dolls?" And that kind of turned a light bulb on in my head, and I started making dolls.
But like,
So that was a big influence.
Nobody can like control that the same of influence or something like that. Look at the case of African Americans. You know, because they are partly African, they take from African culture to use their art, created like in their art.
Yes.
And what if an African takes from like American culture and create? I'm interested like in that kind of reverse, like what African American take from African culture.
Right.
How can like Africans now take from American culture and create like?
And what is okay and what is not
what
okay.
is okay and what is not okay. And if I'm taking from American culture to put in my art, what are the things that I'm interested in? What do I see?
Right.
In American culture that I can put like in African art.
What is worth looking at
Yeah.
and using, and what is not worth looking at and using.
And who asked the question is Jean Paul?
Yes.
Jean Paul, a few years ago, I co-curated a show at the Brenham Court House, which was called Art Fusion. Art Fusion was like art fusion between African and African Americans. And what I did in the collaborative show was that I put one African artist and one African American artist together to work on a piece. That's what I did. And I had 10 artists who worked like on several pieces, collaborating African and African American artists. And it was a positive show. And there were a lot of things, like in terms of collaboration, in terms of ideas, that those artists got the chance and created this kind of work. I collaborated with an African American artist called Mike Markman, who is also a teacher at the Jersey City Public School. So we collaborated like on a piece with a portrait, and I added some like cultural like elements in that piece. and I like it. Well, we should think more about like how can artists collaborate and create like more things, because culture is different. We all different because our own culture, because where we're from. But at the same time, culture is something complex. We together because we share the same culture. We do art, and culture at the same time brings people together. I think I always believe in cultural fusion, but not cultural. I always believe in cultural fusion, but not cultural confusion. And there's like a lot of cultural
Did
fusion
we have a
going
show
on.
by that name?
Yeah, we had a show by this name. There's a lot of cultural confusion going on right now in the world, and we as artists, we have to fight against that.
Yes.
Culture should not be divisive. No, it should not be divisive.
Especially now.
No, it's just like language. We grow from other. We have a lot of things in common. We have a lot of universal heritage that we share that people don't know.
But I don't think we can finish answering John Paul's question without talking about the number of shows we've had where we've had our work together and people think your work is mine and my work is yours.
Yeah,
And how much we love that.
yeah, yeah. We'll use.
So I don't know if that helps answer your question, John.
Well, we use like in some collaboration, we use the same palette. We
Sometimes,
we use sometimes the same palette, and people will be confused which is yours, which is not yours.
Weren't you at one of my solo shows and
Yeah.
someone came up to you and
Yeah,
said, "Nice show, Ibou"? And
yeah. I was in a show in the Cirrus Gallery in New York. She has worked with that brownish colors and earthy,
all the earth
all
tones.
the earth tones, and someone came to the gallery and walked right up to me and said, "Hey, congratulations, it's a great show." I was like, "No, that's not my work. That's my wife's work." They said, "Really?"
And we love that.
We
love that we've kind of blurred those divisions
Yeah, as artists, we shouldn't be
and differences, right?
different differences.
We've rubbed out.
It's confusing. The world needs more cultural fusion than cultural division. That's what we all need.
You can't be more different than us,
Now,
but we make art, and that's what makes us the
That
same.
makes a difference. Yeah.
Oh, this was another art walk, Jerry.
Yeah.
This was the second one.
Yeah, that was the second
This was
artwork.
the one in the summer.
Yeah, the summer in front of the house. So we got a nice setup over here with prints.
This
And
was mainly
plates.
my work that we
Yeah.
had
So you
on
have your
display
work
too.
on
A lot of
display.
my photographs.
So we had like
And this is working in the backyard.
and here I'm working in the backyard. We have so many studios in the house. And here it was like in the backyard in the summertime. So I was working on jewelry boxes with glass jewelry boxes, and then
Notice the mask because
mask.
the oil enamel paint
yeah,
is
I use it.
very strong, very
strong,
toxic.
very toxic. So, and I cannot do this like
Indoors.
clothes indoors. I just like do it like in the backyard and wearing a mask and wearing gloves. So a lot of protection to do this kind.
I think
of thing.
we can go to the next picture.
Yeah.
Good, that is. So I do glass painting as well, as Ibou mentioned. And this is the first step in the process of glass painting. You either draw or paint the dark lines on the glass first, and then you paint on top of the black. And all the work is done on the back or the reverse side of the painting. And you can see that I too am working outside in the sun. Ibou, you can see just a little bit in the upper right-hand corner. Ibou built a tent for us to work under because it was so hot. So crazy hot.
Yeah, we set a tent to work in there.
And I can't work out there quite as long as Ibou can because the mosquitoes love me.
Yeah, in the evening time, the mosquitoes.
And here's he was dancing because I was outside working and the mosquitoes weren't after him.
Yeah.
They were after me.
So
But talk of this is
Yeah,
in
and
this
this
show.
is one of the piece I did. In fact, the piece is in the show. It's one of this. Yeah. So this I finished this one and I put the wire and I hold the piece and I was dancing. Sometimes when I finish a piece, I dance. Because it's like I created something. I'm contributing to the beautiful world. I'm creating like beauty. So I was dancing.
Not to mention, we usually have music playing.
Yeah, and I always have music. And the thing, like when I do these pieces, it's live on Facebook. I do it live on Facebook. I get comments from Africa, comments from here, and comments from Europe. It's mostly live on Facebook, and I did this piece live on Facebook.
In Asia.
In Asia, so I have
Don't
comments
forget
like
Asia.
everywhere.
Australia, you got
Yeah, because I want people to see how I do it and what I'm doing, and when I go through it, like how I do it. Because artists like do these things for people to see and people to love and people to appreciate. Artists are not like surgeons who do the surgery in behind closed doors. But this is open to the public, and that's
Well,
how-
you were an artist.
me.
Linda.
That's how I
Not all artists.
always work. I don't have problem with people doing glass painting, but I'm here to spread the knowledge to people. That's my concept, to educate, to teach, and open people's eyes. So the young generation gotta have pieces of my knowledge. That's how I see things.
Awesome.
Yeah, I don't hide what I do.
And in case you didn't believe me when I said he'll paint and draw on anything, check out the guitar in the bottom corner, the left corner of the image that he's painted all over.
Yeah, I think
How many guitars have you
I
painted?
got 6 guitars right now.
Six.
I paint on my clothes. I paint like on windows, doors, tables. I paint on everything. So whatever I see and get my hands on will become like a piece of artwork. For me, it's always like a big satisfaction to create a piece of artwork. It's always like fun, because my work is fun with a purpose. It's always fun with a purpose. When you see me working, you might think I'm just having fun, but there's a purpose behind the fun. Because there's music, there's food, there's tea, there's like everything. And I can work long hours nonstop.
How many jackets from Jean Paul?
Yeah, I paint my clothes. I have jackets and all those things.
There are a lot, Jean Paul.
They're a lot, Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So the building behind Ibou, Bill just asked about my studio in the backyard. The building behind Ibou was my studio, and now it has become storage. When Ibou moved in, yeah, a lot of my space became storage,
Yeah.
and that's good.
So
It's good. Oh, this was one of my solo shows at Sarah's Gallery, and I really love this picture. So I think it's a great shot that shows how much we've collaborated over the years, because Ibou always helps me hang my shows. He always comes to my openings. I go to his openings when I can. I can't keep up with all of your openings, Ibou. I can't possibly go to all of yours, but
yeah, we hung a lot of shows together. Like this month, we hung 2 shows because we hung I had a show.
only 2, 3, counting this one.
3, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 shows because I had a solo show. Right, I had a solo show in Morristown at Morris Art, and we had that one. And she had a solo show at Terrace in New York. We had that one and this one. So we are always busy hanging shows, teaching, and doing our artwork. So it's like nonstop. We always I've been loading things and in the car. It's just like
What's
moving.
your fit? My favorite Igbo expression is, "That's how you know we're artists, because we're moving stuff
No, it's,
from nowhere to nowhere."
we're living our art from nowhere to nowhere, and we never travel light. We always got like paintings and bags, and always got
Truckloads full of stuff.
full of stuff. That's the artist's life in a way. Yeah. And then coming to this show. It's a great show.
Come on.
So we have
Our mugs.
the mugs.
There are
My
mugs.
art on it. It's available over here. That's for sale anyway. And then we
Support
have,
the museum.
Support the
Yes.
museum.
Support the artists.
We have a lot of paintings over here. Small ones, windows, big ones.
drawings.
And they all for sale too. Just come and support the museum.
Really?
And I don't know. We always got something to sell. As artists, and come and support the museum. Check the show. So we're gonna have a nice opening this Sunday.
This Sunday, March 6th,
March
from
6th.
3 to 5 p.m.
Is it 3 or 2? Was it 2
Or 2, sorry,
From
2 to 5 p.m.
2 to 5.
Yeah, from
2 to 5 p.m. It's going to
So-
be a warm day.
So we're gonna be here. We'll be talking about our art, and then if you're too shy to ask a question right now on Sunday, we're gonna be answering to a lot of questions, and everybody is welcome, and you will see the pieces alive.
And bring friends.
And bring friends. That's so.
It's going to be a great time. And
Yeah, it's
thank
gonna
you
be a
guys
good
so
time.
much.
Yeah.
The work is just beautiful
Thank you,
and
Rand.
inspiring, and really does deserve to be seen in person. So please come on by and check it out, everybody. And
It's
just
free.
we're at like an hour and 7 minutes now. So I'm gonna finish it up. But
Yes.
thank you so much, guys. And
Our pleasure.
yeah.
Pleasure.
Yeah.
One thing artists love to do is talk.
Yeah, right.
And thank you to all the listeners. And
Thank you
those
so much for
Those who are
coming.
watching on
Yes.
Facebook, YouTube, and all the social media.
Yeah. All right. Let's see what I can do.